creating solutions. Because what you do when we get into this stuff is you get into a high vibration, you start bringing stuff to you. But along with that stuff, you bring the challenges, you bring the problems, you know. And so a lot of people will bump up against that stuff and say, well, I really can't go any further. But that just reflects programming inside of whether or not you really believe it's possible and whether or
Hey,
not you
Matt.
really believe in yourself to do it. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, I think there's some feedback. Maybe if you don't mind, Eric, mute your phone for now.
Oh, sorry, that was me walking on my tile with my slippers. I'll take them off. I'm not scrambling for a charger.
I'm gonna mute. I'll mute you, Eric. And if you want to speak, you just speak, brother. Just unmute.
I'm good now. Oh, okay. I'm stationary now.
Okay, all right.
Sorry about that.
No worries. That's it. Culture's fun and family in here, man. So I'm going to share my screen right now, and we're going to go through that. And we're going to, let's see here. We're going to create the solution to anything. Because when we think that something we run across is going to stop us, that's just reflection of a programming inside of us. And there's nothing truly with the infinite person that you are and being able to tap into those infinite capabilities. There's nothing that can stop you. We can always create solutions. And that's what it's about. It's a trick to staying in charge. And the subtext of that is no matter what's going on. It doesn't matter what's going on. Today we're learning about that. How do we stay in charge? And remember, guys, just a little refresher from your infinite mind. All we're doing is we're looking at our results different. You know, we're indifferent to it. We say that's something that happened. It's based on programming that's inside of me, but that programming is susceptible to change. It's no reflection of who I am. I'm already perfect. My spiritual DNA is perfect, and it's just seeking expression. So now the only thing that's being unfolded in my life and showing up in the form of results or action that I'm taking is it's a reflection of my programming that's I've got going on inside of me. View it indifferently. View it like an outside consultant with. Ask yourself, is that what I want? If the answer is no, you got the tools now through M3 Mastermind to change that stuff. Einstein said we can't solve our problems with the same thinking we use when we create them. That guy was smart. He said a lot of really good stuff. Perception is reality, you know. He really understood that you had to step outside of the box and you couldn't keep beating yourself over the head with the same hammer. You know, you had to go get something different. You had to try a different approach, and that's just the truth. Another smart guy said, in order to change the things, you can't fight the existing reality. To change something, you have to build a new model. You've got to go out there and you've got to do something completely different. And that's with us. You look at us. We've got to rebuild ourselves and how we think and feel about ourselves and what we know to be true about ourselves, so that we can go out there in the world and take a different action and get a different result. Most of the world just doesn't understand that. 99% of the world thinks that they can go out there and they can do the same stuff and get different results, or they can work harder doing the same stuff and get different results. But you know, that's just a different definition for insanity. You've got to do something completely different if you want to get a different result. And the people that are getting the results that you want are doing something different than you. So we're talking about our conscious mind. We dove into the stick person last week, understanding what that is and that main picture of all your thoughts, your mind, everything you see out there in the world. It's time to start thinking in terms of the stick person. And our conscious faculties, which I'm going to go over with you here shortly, live within our conscious mind. Our higher faculties do. The faculties that we've been trained to use are see, smell, touch, taste, hear. But those are not the faculties that we should use to be guiding us into our future. They can only tell us what's going on right now and maybe something about what's happened in the past. But we've been so trained to look at what's going on right now. We've been trained that these are the faculties that really matter, our senses. But they're not. You get somebody that starts getting bad grades. I mean, that's a touchy thing, especially for kids, because they start to think that I'm a DNF student. So they internalize that. And so from that point on, that's what their behavior reflects. Something I was thinking about, because memory is one of our higher faculties, and I'm going to go over with it. It's so common to hear people say over and over again, I got a horrible memory. I never remember people's names. So the first time they hear something, their programming says, reject it. That's what happens. Reject it. Hey, could you say that again for me? I'm sorry, what was your name? And if you've got good enough programming in there, it's going to kick it out again. It's going to kick it out again. And it's so important a lot of times in sales that we remember people's names, and we can do it just by simply saying, I got a great memory. I always remember somebody's name, you know? And you start to program that into yourself, and maybe you start with something new. You start to associate something with that person when you meet them. I've had several times now, just by saying that to myself, to have people come up to me and go, hey, hi, and I'll tell them what their name is, and I haven't seen them in a few months. And they go, whoa, why did you remember that? And it wasn't hard. You know, it's like I associated them with a celebrity, or there was some unique characteristic about them that I looked at. And anyway, higher faculties, that's what it's all about. We're not here to live through the senses anymore. The senses are just antenna. They catch what happened, and then you're able to, again, look at it and say, is that what I want? If it's what I want, I'm doing a good job. Am I getting feedback right now?
No.
A little bit? Okay. That's all it is you're catching, and you're looking at it indifferently through your senses. That's what they're truly for. Your higher faculties, which I'm going to show to you right now, is what we're using to create our future. The higher faculties are perception, imagination, intuition, will, memory, and reason. And each one of them is a different thing that we've not been trained to use. The only thing we were ever trained to use in school is memory. Read, remember, repeat, pass the test, get the paper. Can't even remember what that class was about. I mean, I would think I remember one. Can you see that stuff okay, Eric M? Let's see here. Okay, cool. So perception, our higher faculties, perception is just our point of view. And you can take on another person's point of view, especially if you knew them well, but you can take on an author's point of view. Bob talks about this a lot when he says he would imagine that he was sitting across the table from Napoleon Hill because he had read that book so much. What would Napoleon have to say about that? And you can really get in tune with what another person would give you an answer for. Might be somebody that was important in your life, aunts, uncles, mom, dad, whatever. They don't even have to be living, because once you start to change your point of view, you can really start to take on a different way of thinking. We do this a lot of time with the coaching when we say, like, imagine an outside consultant, were to come in and evaluate you. What would they say? I think last week we said, imagine somebody, a coworker of yours, and saying something about you is annoying. What's annoying about you if based on your coworkers? It's a different point of view. Imagination flat out creates fantasies. You can actually build a picture in your head. Anything that you want, you have the ability to build. We use our imagination based on our programming. So most of the time, the world's building pictures of why things can't happen for them or why it's about to go wrong. But we have the ability to train ourselves to look at the world in, how can this be done? What would be the most amazing thing that I would ever want to happen in this moment? What would it be like if this had already happened for me? And that's your powerful imagination. Napoleon Hill said it was the most marvelous, miraculous, inconceivably powerful force in the universe. And a lot of people have referred to our imagination as the God part that's inside of you. Intuition, it picks up on vibration and it translates those vibrations. When you're close to somebody, you can actually feel whether they're anxious, you can feel whether they're happy. We do have an intuitive factor that does that. It's not something that somebody has or doesn't have. We all have it. We've experienced it before. If you've ever walked into a room, didn't hear a word said, didn't see anybody move, but you knew something was wrong. You've all gone through that before. Girlfriend's about to break up with you. Just kidding, man. Will. We talk about willpower. You know, we've heard that and we throw that phrase around a lot, but will simply is being able to hold your focus on one single thing to the exclusion of everything else. And all that mental power we have, it's like taking a magnifying glass as you hold it up to the sun, and how it brings the sun down to a white hot bead. It super focuses it. And when you're able to hold your focus on one thing, you're able to use your full mind on that. Most of the time, it's like you're watching TV when our will is not trained and you're changing the channel every 2 to 3 seconds. That's about how much consciousness we give to what it is that we're doing. When you train your will, and you train your will through meditation, that's one of the best ways to do it. Another good way to do it is when you're listening to this stuff. Actually, like I said, I'm recording this. So if you go back and watch it, which I recommend you do, and watch it again and again and again, because you pick up on more things, but really focus on how you watch it. And when you feel yourself veer off course and you're thinking about something else that's going on, it's you being conscious of your will and then just bring it right back on. When I watch lessons with Bob, I do that constantly, and I use it as a means of training my will. Memory is the faculty by which our mind stores and remembers information. And there's no such thing as a bad memory. We only have weak memories and strong memories. And really, memory is, it's not what we think it is. Uh, you know, when we talk about learning something and constant spaced repetition and putting it in, that's internalizing it. But memory is about association, really. And one of the best ways to really take your memory to another level is through ridiculous association. And I like having this conversation with people too, and they just say, "No, no, 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 I'm not good at it. I'm not good at it." And you say, "Well, wait, when was the last time somebody told you a really good story, or maybe a really funny story, and it wasn't a short story? It might have been a longer story, and then you turned around and you told that story like a day later to somebody else, and you told it just right on the money, piece for piece, part for part." Because you were associating something. You were making the pictures happen in your head. Our memories are actually perfect. It's just our use of them that are imperfect. The last thing we have is our reasoning factor. That's our it's one of the highest things that we're capable of, and we call it thinking, you know. That's when we pull that, whatever you want to call it. Wallace Wattles called that thinking stuff. It's the energy that flows to and through you, and you shape it, and you shape it into thoughts. We call it thinking. And we're constantly doing that, whether information is being handed to us or whether we're consciously choosing to form the thought. That's what our reasoning factor is, the ability to think. So here's the trick. Here's the real trick with this stuff. Results into thinking. This is what the masses do. If you've heard it said before, 96% of the wealth is held by 1% of the population. And there's a reason why that is. There's a fact that the thinking that they have, the masses, and why most people are stuck, why I got into coaching, why it made so much sense to me, is because the world takes in right there, you see it, present results. They see what's going on around them. They use their senses and they say, okay, I look at those present results. That causes my thoughts. My thoughts cause my feelings, and my feelings cause my actions. Now, what kind of actions do you think that you're going to get when you start with what's going on around you?
Reactive?
Yeah, reactive is a good way to put it. But what kind of action reaction do you think that you get? What kind of results do you think that you get from the world? Or what kind of results are you getting in your life when you're starting with what's already going on around you? It's more of the same. Wouldn't you agree? It's because you're looking at what's going on around you, and it goes inside. It causes a feeling. It causes actions that are related to that, and you just get more of the same. That's all that it is, and that's what most of the world is doing. Have you heard people say that before? Why does this crap keep happening to me? It's the same thing. It doesn't matter if it's with relationships, if it's with money, if it's with jobs, whatever it is. It can even be with people get into a mode with coaching. I've noticed it, is that they go to the next shiny thing. And then they get really involved with it. They love the coaching. Like, this stuff's amazing. And then they get to a point where they go, oh, okay. And then they go to the next thing. They get really involved with it, and then they dwindle off, and it's the same thing over and over and over again, and it never changes until the person says, wait a minute, you know what? I get involved in a program and I follow it all the way through to the end. I always get results from the coaching that I get. I always use it to my benefit. That's just one example, you know? So here's the switch right here. What's the difference? Thinking like the 1%. And by the way, the 1% that do this and use this, of those 1%, almost all of them don't even know exactly what they're doing, and they can't articulate it like it's being articulated right here on M3 Mastermind. They just do it because this thinking is also part of your subconscious programming. You don't think about how you think, you just think that way. But this is what they do. You see the box? You start with a thought and an idea. And what we do in this coaching is what is it that you really, really want? That causes new feelings, which causes new action, which produces what? New results out in your life. And you know that the rules already are. We just talked about that. You look at those results indifferently through your senses, and you ask the question again, is that what I want? What's good about that? What would I like to change about that? And then start with a brand new thought. Those thoughts cause new feelings, cause new action, cause new results until you get those results where you want. And that's what this lesson's all about. It's about using those higher faculties to produce those new thoughts, to produce those new actions. So Napoleon Hill, the writer, Bob's main influence every day, and he reads that book every single day since 1961. He said after studying 500 of the most successful people in the whole world that an educated person is not necessarily one, missed an E there. How did I do that? One who has an abundance of general or specialized knowledge. It's not that. An educated person is one who has so developed the faculties of their mind that they may acquire anything that they want or its equivalent without violating the rights of others. And that's it. Over 60 years of doing this, Bob said it's on such a rare occasion that he's found in order for somebody to achieve the life that they really, really wanted, because he only talks about the big goals. It was so rare for them to have to actually go out there and learn something new. They needed to learn how to use their mind. They did not need to go get education. Education was part of their programming. Like, well, I got to go back and I got to get my doctorate now. You know, let me rack up $250,000 in school bills because that's what we've been trained to do. But it was not necessary. We've just been programmed to think that way. Really, we just need to draw what we already have out inside. One more glimpse into it, guys. This is me and my creation of the wheel as it goes around and around and around. Thoughts cause feelings, cause actions, cause results. The results do not have to dictate your thoughts. There's the break. On the check side, you see it there. The masses, they always begin with the results. The results cause the thoughts, cause the feelings, cause the action, what happens in their life. They get more of the same, and it's called struggle. It's called being stuck. The 1%, they start with the thoughts, cause the feelings, cause the actions. What does their life look like? They're always in charge. They're always able to create any result that they want because they know that it all begins with their thinking. And that's the subtle, small, profound change that we need to shift. Results, thinking. That's why this program that I coach to is not called Results into Thinking. It's called Thinking into Results. Does that resonate? Does that make sense?
Yeah. So your thought is basically, I guess you're starting with the life you want, or whatever, right? Like whatever, it's a goal, right? Basically.
That's the cool part. That's why we say, you know, you're God's highest form of creation, because what thought can you have? You can have anything you want, right? You can truly think about anything that you want. When you think about guys like the Wright brothers, you know, and they said, I'm gonna fly a plane. No, you can't do that. That's impossible. And they just held their thoughts. That's all that they thought about until that was created. And look at the world that they opened up. Cell phones, you name it. Electricity. I got a light bulb right above my head here, you know? It's all around you. Everything first began as a thought. It's a cool city behind me. Your higher faculties, I want to remind you of this so that you remember this. Don't ever limit yourself with them. Your higher faculties are already perfect. They came that way. They were already built that way. They only require development. And a way of looking at this is if you tied one arm up and you worked out your other arm like crazy, you know, your arm that you're working out is going to get stronger. And what we've been taught is to tie up our higher faculties and don't think about that. And we've been taught to really work the heck out of our senses, pay attention to what's going on. So we've got strong that way. But all your higher faculties require is for you to go back toward that and say, I'm going to develop these higher faculties. I'm really going to put my conscious focus on that. And that's what our action steps are going to be about today. They're not something that you're either born with or not. It's a misnomer. And the one that gets that the most is intuition. But we all have intuition and we all have the ability to develop that intuition. Like I said, you've walked into a room and you've felt it before. That's your intuitive factor. You know, when you know what's going, something, you know, but you've got programming inside that says, hey, deny that, don't pay attention to that. And then sure enough, it just comes out. It's like, I knew it. I knew that, you know, whatever the thing was. You have an intuition and all your higher faculties are the same that way. Begin by developing yours, and we're going to take action on that right now. So the first thing we want to do is we're going to begin by writing out a situation. And I put this here on a Mac. If you're on a Mac, it's Shift Command 4 if you want to screenshot these. And I think you just drag your cursor over it, Shift Command 4. PCs might be a little different, but I know on your phone, if you're on your phone, Eric D, you can hit side button, home button, or whatever. It should just screenshot it for you. I don't have any problem with sending you the PowerPoints too. So
that's the problem. My Samsung, I haven't figured that out yet. I should have stayed with the Apple.
That's not going well or something you'd like to improve, and write that situation in detail. Get it out. It's just a result. It's indifferent. Spill it out, and then take a look at what you're looking at. Notice the thoughts that you're naturally having about this. The third thing is are your thoughts positive or negative? Just recognize it. Are they positive or negative? What's my natural thing about this? I'm still switching, and that was part of my win this week, is noticing that I was really switching over to it doesn't matter. Like everything I see is like, that's good. And I'm being more and more positive about anything that happens. But that's conscious training. Are your thoughts negative or positive? Use your higher faculty of reason to have different thoughts about this. So you can think anything that you want. Think about ways to make it better and write those ways down. Let it flow out your hand. You're tying into the infinite right here. So remember, get into the flow. It doesn't need to make sense. Get the pin hand going and just whip it out.
I got to run, guys.
All right, Eric. Thanks,
Catch
man.
you later. Yep.
See you, brother. Have a happy Thanksgiving.
Thank you. You as well.
Thank you.
Hey, sorry, hold on.
Use perception. This is the second part. Use perception to see the situation through another's point of view, another's eyes. Imagine somebody that couldn't fail facing the thing or the problem or the challenge or however it is that you're wanting to improve yourself, somebody that's already good at what you want to be good at. Use perception to look at it through their eyes, from their point of view. What do you see? Write it down. Let it flow. Does that make sense?
Yeah. I was able to screenshot it too.
Cool.
I figured that out.
You believed in yourself to do it.
I did. Actually, the whole time I've been telling myself I can't do it. I wasn't able to do it. Then I just said, you know what? I can do this.
You know what, Eric? I had a really cool moment with a lady the other day. I want to share it with you. And it was just like this. She had lost everything on her computer, and she got so emotionally involved with it, it wasn't going to It wasn't going to be like, it was just hours and hours and hours, and her computer was her livelihood, her life, you know? And so she calls Apple, and it doesn't matter that she calls Apple because they can't find it and they can't do it, and they're trying and trying, and she's just sinking deeper and deeper into this abyss of just hopeless sadness. And she calls me, and I said, well, you know, is that what you want? You know, because that's what I do. I go, you know, just, no, of course not. It's not what I want. Okay. So I want you to get involved with, what does it feel like? What would you say to me right now if you recovered that? I mean, it's on your computer right now. It just popped up. What does that feel like? And it took a moment, and she just says, okay. I said, well, it's going to feel better than what you're feeling right now. So come on, let's just mess around with this. So she just starts scratching the surface of it. And then she's like, well, I'd be really happy. I go, well, what would you say? What would you say? I would say, yes, I found it. Eric, I kid you not, within like minutes of that lady pulled it up. She found her own way through. Apple support was not on, and she recovered her stuff. And she was saying those words within minutes, and she was elated. And then she was kind of like, how did we do that? And I was like, just like we did it, just like that. It's something that we're not taught to do, but these things are so powerful in creating the solutions to areas where you don't think there are solutions. Apple's help desk couldn't solve it. I'm not a technical guy. That's not what I do. But I work with the laws of the universe, man.
That's right.
Use your imagination to see this situation as you would like it to be already. So this is another way of looking at it. If this situation were perfect, exactly the way you wanted it to be, what would it be like right now? What would that feel like? Now take that imagination and backtrack and brainstorm the ways that could have happened, and write the brainstorm ideas down. So we're going to use those conscious faculties right there. We're going to use your reason, your perception, and your imagination to create some solutions in this lesson when we take action. And the last thing we're going to do is we're going to use our will to hold your thoughts on any of those solutions. Only consciously focus that mind power on there, and use your will and hold it on there. And if your focus shifts away, you're just indifferent about it, and shift your focus right back to it. Shift your focus back to the solutions that you've created, and then notice what you're feeling, because you're starting with a new train of thought by doing that. Do you get where I'm headed with this now?
Mm-hmm.
What actions are you inspired to take? That's your last step right there. Write those actions down, and then take the actions, because you're receiving that through that other higher faculty, which is intuition. And go do the thing. No action, no results. No results, you can never make it to your goal. It doesn't matter if your results are things that you're not wanting right now. It's still good because you're getting results. Somebody hang the phone up on you and say, get lost, loser. So cool, man. You made the phone call. Win. Check the box. That's a win. You know what I mean? You
That's
don't make
just one person closer.
That's right. You don't make the phone call. You're just not doing it. You're not getting the results from the world. That's it, brother. The trick to staying in charge, further action. I put it in the chat this time. I'm winning. Read the 333 story, because they produced something amazing with exactly what I'm telling you about right now. They never spent any time on the negative side, and they produced, well, I'm just going to let you read the story there. It's really awesome. $3 million in 3 hours is what they did.
Wow.
Yeah, wouldn't that be cool?
Yeah, that's like that book, The 1 Minute Millionaire.
Yeah.
Oh, was it called The 1 Minute? Anyway, this lady had a goal to make $1 million in like 30 days or something.
Yeah. Peggy McCall.
Is that so you know the book I'm talking about? I had the right name.
Yeah.
I read it years ago. That was amazing. Yeah, like because you're so easy to limit yourself. Like, there's no way I could do that. Well, you know what? There's people who have done it.
Yeah. I listen, if we're talking about Peggy got the idea and she wanted to do that, and so she really got emotionally involved with it and she made it happen. She was working with Bob when she did it, but I listened to Peggy speak. I listened to her speak a couple times, but I went and saw her, and then I had written my goal card, what I wanted to do, and I had her sign it. I really liked her story too. She's pretty powerful when you hear her story all the way out. She came from really not much, a hard life, and she walks around and she plays her goal script in her ears all day long. She's a goal script diehard. So next week, environment is but our looking glass, and we're going to be talking about self-image. Self-image is just programming that's programmed into us, and so therefore it's susceptible to what? Change. Yeah, anything you want it to be. And what we find out as we dive into this stuff is that we actually have two self-images, and there's an image that we project to the world, but there's an image that's on the inside that we actually think and feel. It's really programmed into us, and ultimately that's the governing image. But we have the ability to change that image. So it's the regular people that jump on here that get the results that are going to make the change. Like Yoda said, there is no try. We only do or we do not. And you hear people all the time say, well, if I have time or whatever the case is.
Or I'll try.
Mm-hmm.
No, you won't.
No, there's no such thing. You either want it and you've decided to go get it, or you've decided to give an excuse. You can't have both. And you've proven over and over again that you've shown up. And I really appreciate that, Eric. You got anybody that you want to share it with? Keep sharing, because we're going to keep going this way through 2020. And like I said, in 2021, that's it. We're going to pedal to the metal. We're going to lock down M3 Mastermind. We're going to be a group. The world needs to know this stuff. This takes this world and makes it better.
Exactly.
All right. You guys have a wonderful Thanksgiving. Have a good rest of your week. Keep winning.
Right on, brother. Thank you. You too. See ya.